How do I change my life? Huge question, right? If you're frustrated, you want to change, you don't know how, you don't know where. There's really just one simple piece, one simple key to changing your life, and that is decision. You make a decision to change your life. So if you're already sitting here with the question of how do I change my life, then you're already on the right track because you're already looking to how. Now it becomes, well, are you ready to engage with the process? And the process is that you make a decision. You make a decision to change your life. You make a decision in the now, which alters your future. And then that new future reflects upon your current now, your current reality. So you're altering all of time and space in the present moment because all of time and space bends around the present moment. Okay. The decision, and we think of this word decide as that like you're choosing something or whatever. There's a lot, whatever meaning you're already bringing to that word. I just want to bring a new layer of understanding to what the word decision means. Decision, decide. It comes from decide. Comes from the Latin root is decide. It's pretty much the same spelling, but decide means to cut off. So when you're deciding, you're cutting off all other options. That's the power of decision. It's not that you're choosing one thing, you're letting go of all the other things. And that's why decision is hard, right? Is because we're scared to let go. What if? What about? What if? What if? And there's that constant what if. And so the place to challenge yourself is, are you emotionally committed to the fantasy of what could be? Because that has to be surrendered and cut off in order to achieve the reality of what can be, or put differently, to bring what can be into your reality, right? So when you change your life, you're letting go of all the other potentials, right? That's the thing. When you choose a partner, right? When you get married, when you choose a partner, etc., you're choosing one person. That means you're cutting off everyone else. That's what marriage is. Part of it, right? You're committing to that one person and you're cutting off all other people. They're no longer an option to you. Same thing when you're choosing, when you decide upon your future self, you're cutting off all other potential future selves. And there's an infinite number of potential future selves, and they're all vying for your attention. And the reality is that most people are going through the day repeating what was yesterday, the comfortable no. And the known is then repeated into tomorrow. And so what happens is most people are sleepwalking through their life and a little frustrated with their life. Why? Because the familiar past becomes the repetitive future. And so it's a broken loop. It's broken record kind of idea, right? Which is that Groundhog Day over and over and over and over and over. And the only way to stop that is to make a new decision, which is to cut off, which means letting go of all the things that you're holding on to right now. Because what you're holding on to right now is holding you back from the potential that you have. So that is the journey. That's how you change your life, is actually letting go so that you can discover who you truly are, because you already are who you're meant to be. So the process is not self-development. You're not developing into something. You're remembering who you are. You're rediscovering who you are. You're reclaiming and restoring that image of your ideal self, right? And the ideal, of course, is something that we're always living into. It's never achieved. But the beauty is when you set your future self as that ideal self, when you choose that to be your direction, your anchor point that you move towards, all of your life changes around because of that decision. And so it's in the current present moment that we make a decision that changes our life. So when you want to know, how do I change my life? You make a decision now, because this moment is the defining moment of the rest of your life. This moment is the beginning of the rest of your life. So make a decision now to change the rest of your life, and the rest of your life will change. You have the power to decide. So part of this is reclaiming your power, which is something else that we'll go into, but that comes at the price of pain. Because the pain is the realization that everything in your life is your current choice. You have chosen your current experience. And it might not feel like it. It might feel like, oh, well, Dad did this to me when I was young, so that's why, right? Mommy never gave me this, or, so-and-so called me ugly, and blah, 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 blah. And look, we all carry our trauma, right? I was sexually abused as a kid by older girls. Doesn't mean that I'm going to choose to carry that as my identity now. Was it an event that happened in my past? Yes. But is it a defining characteristic of who I am? No. Am I going to choose to replicate that past experience into my future? No. And the way that was guilt and shame, a sense of powerlessness. And so any kind of trauma, which is all it comes down to, trauma is a sense of powerlessness, of giving your power away. So we replicate that trauma. Once again, we drag the past into the present, which mars our future. Why? How? What? By bringing that sense of powerlessness. The event is done. The event is past. It's never, they're in a different country. I've never seen them again. But the sense of powerlessness followed me throughout my life. I carried it with me because I wasn't letting it go. And it sounds so simplistic, and you're probably sitting, some of you are sitting there going, I can't do that. I can't just let it go. You can. You can. And it takes courage. And I'm here to support you through that journey because there is a lot more to it. Yes, I understand that. But you can. I would just want to affirm you can. You have the power of your life. Right? You've chosen. It comes with the recognition, though. To reclaim your power, you have to recognize that my current life is my choosing. I've created my life. That means I can recreate my life. That decision comes with pain. Right? But when I realized while I was creating my life, because I was choosing to continue to carry the emotional signature of an event that was past, years in the past, right? And I was allowing that to mar my experience of life. I could let it go, right? I could heal as well, because the other piece about time bending around the present moment is I can heal myself in the past now. So I'm no longer at the mercy of my past. But once again, that takes ownership in the moment. I choose, I decide, I'm going to cut off the emotional attachment to a sense of victimhood, right? Whatever we're giving our power to, that's what we are a victim to. And when you are a victim, you are all the more powerless. And so it's a self-feeding monster, right? So it's about reclaiming your power, which comes with a decision, because the decision is a powerful thing. You can't decide without the power. You have the power to cut off. And once you make that decision to alter your future self, that future self reflects upon the present self, as Carl Jung says, which again is that collapsing of time in the present moment. That's why now is the definitive moment of the rest of your life, because now is the moment when you are choosing and deciding the rest of your life. So what will you choose? Right? And most of the time, or for most people, that's an unconscious choice. It's an unconscious active decision. It is active, even though it's unconscious. We are all actively choosing our future, and that future is becoming true. And then we say, oh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I'm such a failure. Look, here's why. And we come up with justification to excuse our excuses, to justify our victimhood. But you can turn that around and find the justification for your power, justification for your empowerment, right? The choice is yours. Rise, take up your bed, and walk. It wasn't a magic wand. Nobody picked him up. Your faith has made you whole, right? It's a matter of receiving the good that is already there available to us. Once again, you already are who you're meant to be. It's a matter of reclaiming that and restoring that, healing the past, changing the future in the moment through the power of decision. Decision means to cut off. What are you going to cut off today so that you can be that better version of yourself starting now?